Okay, I'll do an update on the summer garden. Today is July 19th in Peterborough, Ontario, which is about an hour northeast of Toronto. I'll do the first one on my fruit trees here, and then maybe do a second video on the vegetable garden. So this is my Pembina plum tree. If you've seen my other videos, you know that I've talked about most of these fruit trees already, but it's only the second year I've had it, and it's got some nice looking plums on it already. So they're just starting to get a bit of bloom on it now. So it wipes off there. But they're looking good, and it's probably got about 20 plums on it or so. Maybe I might have left too many on there for such a young tree. Just have a look at some of the other trees. I've mentioned the other ones this spring already. The little plum tree here, my pear trees, European pears. I'll just touch on the ones that are kind of changing a little bit here. The wealthy apple. Got a big eastern red cedar in the front yard, and because of that I'm getting a lot of cedar apple rust on the leaves. Newer leaves don't have any damage yet, so most of the damage must occur in the springtime. So I'm going to have to look at some remedies for that. Kiwis, it's the first year. I've had these for 4 years, and it's the first year I've got kiwis, and they're looking good. Lots of little kiwis on there. So they should be ready in about another month, I think. So it's all kind of new to me, but the vine itself is looking good. I've got the male in the middle and a female on each side. Grapes, I've got 3 different grapevines here. This is a Valiant grape. It's a purple grape, but it's a bit of a wetter start to the summer. It's been dry lately. But lots of mildew in there and brown rot. So probably not going to get a good crop out of the Valiant this year. You can't tell, but in there is the K-Gray green grapes. And they didn't have very good fertilization this year, so it's a little bit sparse in there, but they don't seem to have any disease problems. It's just a sparse crop. And the Minnesota 78, which is not my favorite tasting grape, but it's got an excellent crop. There's just grapes everywhere in there, and it's having a fantastic year, so I'll probably give it a couple more years. And if I don't find myself liking the taste any better, I might have to get rid of that vine, but it's very productive. It might be a good grape, a wine grape. Back to my big apple trees, and these are 6 or 7 years old this year. This is the Jonah Gold. Lots of apples here. I did a lot of thinning this year, so I'm hopefully going to get some better size, but still had a lot of insect damage. Although I've tried some other stuff, some organic methods of pest control, including those sticky red apples, which are just full of flies, and I'm assuming some of those are the apple maggot flies, so hopefully that's reduced my damage here. And it looks like there's quite a few good apples that have no damage, and most of them just have just a little bit of damage, which I'm okay with. And the other big tree I have is the Golden Delicious, and also having a good year. We didn't have a very good year last year, but looks to be a really good year. Tons and tons of apples in there, and they're getting about golf ball size now. Lots and lots of apples. These are the shrub cherries that I planted. They're the Romance series from University of Saskatchewan. I've got 3 different varieties here, so they're just little, and they came as little cuttings this year. These are going to be a sour shrub cherry, which doesn't get too big, but kind of a semi-sour sweet taste. So I've heard lots of good reviews. This one here is Juliet, and I think I have 2 Crimson Passions and a Romeo. That's the Romeo there, and then these must be the Crimson Passions here, I think. Anyways, they're growing good. You got Crimson Passion and one on the other side there, so they're looking good. My Akane apple is it's put on probably 2.5 feet of growth this year already, so it's doing good. It's nice and straight. I pruned off a bunch of branches this spring, so My Burbank plum, it's third season in the ground and hasn't really grown at all. Didn't bloom at all this year, and no fruit. So it's just going to take a while to catch, I think. Whereas the Shiro plum, planted at the same time as an Asian plum, put on lots of growth last year, and we're probably looking at about 3 feet of growth this year. So I did have one plum, and it's gone now, so I won't get to taste it this year. Here's the Toka plum. It's a North American hybrid, and quite a few plums on here. They seem small, but it's the first year I've had fruit. It was just planted last year, so maybe that's a normal size, or maybe just because it's early in its history, it's not got very big fruit yet. But looking forward to trying those. I had some comments on my YouTube site that other people do like the taste. I've got a couple water bottles hanging there, you'll see, just to try to spread the growth a little bit. It's very upright growth, so I've tried to spread. You see that branch there has become a bit more horizontal. Here I planted 3 Haskap. They're like a type of blueberry. I think some people call them a honeyberry, but I also got those from University of Saskatchewan. 3 different varieties there, and they'll probably be a good 3 years out before they're fruiting yet. My little Stella cherry, planted last year, it's put on a lot of growth this year. It's doing good. And the Van cherry, which is 4 years old this year, had just an excellent year. Probably got a good sized bucket of cherries off it. I put some bird netting over it to try to keep the birds off, and it really seemed to help. So excellent year with the Van cherry. It's my first major crop with that one. The Royalty raspberries, it's a purple raspberry here. I planted last year, and still not seeing a lot of success. It's got some berries, but some of the berries are a little bit white on top, and had extreme heat and a bit of drought lately, so maybe that's part of the problem. But that one there is getting a little purple. They're supposed to go deep purple though, so I'll give them a couple more years and see how they do. Just a couple more things I'll do here on the fruit section. It's the little Liberty dwarf apple. All the others are standard or semi-dwarf. This one's a true dwarf size. So it's going to be right in the middle of the garden. It's doing fine. Cherries, or strawberries, sorry. Those are Kent strawberries, and had a pretty good year this year. Some more strawberries there. My blueberries, I've got 3 blueberry bushes in this pen here. They're 3 or 4 years old now too, and I've never really had much fruit, and their growth has been slow, but there is some fruit on there now, and I've just put this cage over with some bird netting, which has allowed me to get some blueberries this year. So I think that's probably half the key, was to keep out the chipmunks and the birds, and maybe I'll be able to enjoy a couple more blueberries. I have tried acidifying the soil a little bit with some sulfur and pine needles and stuff, and looks like the leaves are a fairly healthy color, dark green, so I think the soil pH is fine. My raspberries here, 2 varieties of red and the yellow. The yellow is the Fall Gold, and they're about my favorite raspberries now. I'm not sure if that's focusing, but they're an orange-yellow color, and they're really good eating. And they'll crop twice. So this is the early crop on the tips of the plant, and then it'll crop again in the fall time with more raspberries on the lower parts of the plant. I can't remember the red varieties offhand here, but they're okay. They're pretty good. I don't have a lot of them. And one blackberry in here, which is getting closer. It's got some blackberries in there. It's the Merriam variety, which probably is not very hardy for zone 5. I think it's more like a zone 7 or something, but it gets a little bit of dieback every winter, but comes back and produces some blackberries, so I've kept it. The only other thing I'll show here is my newest blueberry plant, which is a pink lemonade. When it's fully ripe, it's going to be a pink color instead of turning into a blue. It's a really nice looking plant, so just planted it this year, and hopefully in a year or two we'll start to get some fruit. just the other thing I guess I'll show you for now is the peach tree. It's Harrow Diamond Peach, and I planted it this spring, and it's put on some really nice luscious growth. And again, I'm in zone 5 and 5A in Peterborough, Canada. So this is really pushing the limits for peach growth. But so far it's having an excellent summer, and it's supposed to be hardy to this zone temperature, although I may lose a lot of fruit and blossoms in the springtime. So may not be a very successful fruiter every year, but it's actually a nice tree. So I'll leave it there, and I'll make a second video here to show the veggie garden.